Translation and purport by Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sometimes one who is very alert as not to commit sinful acts is victimized by a sinful life again. I therefore consider this process of repeated sinning and atoning to be useless. It is like the bathing of an elephant. For an elephant cleanses itself by taking a full bath, but then throws dust over its head and body as soon as he returns to the land. Purport. When Parikshit Maharaj inquired how a human being could free himself from sinful activities, so as not to be forced to go hellish planetary systems, not to go to hellish planetary systems after death. Sukadeva Goswami answers that the process of counteracting sinful life is atonement. In this way, Sukadeva Goswami tested the intelligence of Maharaj Pariksit, who passed the examination by refusing to accept this process as genuine. Now Pariksit Maharaj is expecting another answer from his spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami. And that other answer we will read in text 15 a little further. Omajnana timanasya chinansana salaka saksaranmitam yena tasmai shigove nama chitchetayamanopistam stapitam yena bhutale svamrupakadamayam dadati svapalantikam vandeyam shiyo shiyuda padakamalam shiyom vaishnavam sha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shifishakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sinodina Vanatiyat Pate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvana Sudadevi Pranamama Hari Priya Pankha Kalpta Vishakri Pasan Bevisha Patnam Pavan Bhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachai Desatani Srila Prabhupada Ki. So the reason why Maharaj Pariksit rejects this process is, although it counteracts sinful activities, it does not purify the heart. So these are, and if the heart is not purified, then the desire to do these sinful activities is still there and will come up again. That's the essence. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, his spiritual master was testing him. The spiritual master has to test the disciple for 1 year. For 1 year, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, before accepting the aspirant disciple as disciple, to test how they are serious, that And yes, that's important. What does it mean to be serious? When Lord Chaitanya forgave Jagai and Madai and was accepting them, it was on the condition you never do this again, these sinful activities. That was the condition. And we will hear hereafter Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami will give a practical demonstration. A practical demonstration by telling the history of the life of Achamil. Achamil was in the beginning of his life a devotee, but then he fell down. And he performed a whole entire life of sinful activities. But then at the end of his life, he got a near-death experience. And he was chanting Krishna's name, the name of Narayan, with the intention to call his son. And he became purified. It counteracted also all the sins. But his desire to give up these sinful activities and to become serious, that happened during his near-death experience. When he heard the talk between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, then he understood what he had done. And he changed his attitude. He made the commitment, I will never do these things again. So then there was a change of heart. So unless that change of heart is there, it's difficult to make progress in devotional service. Devotional service starts with Brahmanda Brahmite Konya Bhagavan Shiva Gaur Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Beach. By the mercy of Krishna, one wanders up and down from birth to birth, and then one becomes Bhagya, one becomes fortunate when one meets a pure devotee, spiritual master, and receives from him the seed of devotional service, who plants it in the heart. So once this seed is planted, we have to water it. And that's Ajamil, after his near-death experience, he will go to Hardwar and start Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Very serious, and he will water the seed. But even when the seed of devotion grows, but we have to be careful. Together with the plant, also some weeds may grow. And we have regularly to remove these weeds. So that is the removal of these weeds. That's the process of anartha-nivritti. And the process of anartha-nivritti will start really when, from the moment it will start to really work, when we give up our offensive mentality. And the offensive mentality is a desire to exploit for our own benefit. the desire to get honor, the desire for sense and enjoyment, which is most gross, that it's analyzed by Vishwanath Saraswati Thakur, all these kinds of, you have anarthas, you have attachments for sense gratification, but you have also apparats or fences. Otherwise, the seed will grow, and yes, the seed will grow, but the weeds will also grow and may become bigger than the plant of devotion. Finally, prevent the plant of devotion to grow. So this is an important aspect here. This atonement is useless, and we find this out, and all the other processes of means karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga, and we have jnana yoga, astanga yoga, dhyana yoga. They will all remove, they will all help to counteract these sinful activities. And they will purify, help also to purify the heart to a certain extent. But to be really effective, we need the help of Krishna. And Krishna will help when we perform bhakti yoga, ananya bhakti, pure devotional service, which is the activity of the soul. And so we can, because to go back to the spiritual world, it's only with ananya bhakti. Because our process of devotional service is a process to adopt a lifestyle, the same lifestyle as those in the spiritual world. It's a whole culture and in the spiritual world, everyone is clean, very clean. Of course, they are transcendentally clean. But our lifestyle is a lifestyle in the mode of goodness. That therefore, before we come to the temple, we take a bath and so on. We put up tilak. So that's part of a lifestyle. To elevate ourselves to goodness. But it's not just our body we have to elevate to goodness, our gross body, also the subtle body. We have to bring to goodness and prepare for the worship of the Lord every morning. Therefore pujaris, they will worship the Supreme Lord, but before worshipping the Supreme Lord, all pujaris, they know that they have to do the upadan. They have to prepare all the utensils for worship of the deity, and they purified the bell. There are prayers to the bell and they are purified, And then that's called the Upadan. But then, before worshipping the deity, we have also that's called the yoga, that we have to bring our consciousness to the transcendental platform. Then that's important, bring it to the transcendental platform. How do we do that? Normally pujaris, before they worship the Lord, they worship the spiritual master, right? Spiritual master. They have a separate puja plate before they do puja for the spiritual master, before they worship the deity, before they undress the deity and bathe them. First the spiritual master. And then there is a meditation on the spiritual master sitting on a seat near to Lord Chaitanya. And then there are prayers to Lord Chaitanya, because without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we cannot worship the Supreme Lord. And then there are the Buddhist Suddhi prayers, which are meant to bring our consciousness to the transcendental platform, and then we can worship the Lord. So this is important. Here it is saying in this verse that, yes, when this process does not purify the heart, it counteracts only the sinful activities. Our process is purifying the heart if we follow it properly. And that means that we must work to bring our consciousness every moment to the transcendental platform. If it comes down from the transcendental platform, then we meditate on sense gratification. And sense gratification, and that meditation is a sinful activity. Srila Prabhupada said many times, if you are not Krishna conscious, then it's sinful activity. Because what is the essence of a sinful activity? Essence of a sinful activity is thinking this is for my enjoyment. But everything belongs to Krishna. So that's envy of Krishna. And that's the basis of sinful activities in this world. That, of course, in terms of pious and impious activities, this sinful activity may have another meaning, that what's pious is according to the scriptures and gives happiness, and what's impious, that gives suffering. But more subtly, it means every non-Krishna conscious thought activity is sinful. When I was in 96, I was in Mayapur, and my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he was leading a parikram in Mayapur. And at the beginning of the parikram, he said, now you have arrived in the spiritual world. Now only hear about Krishna and chant his names, and don't come down anymore to the platform of material consciousness. Remain on this higher platform. So that was at the beginning of the parikram, but that's what we always must do. Don't come down. Otherwise we get in trouble. And our process of Vaidhisana Bhakti is meant to bring us to this platform of always thinking of Krishna and never forget him. That's the overall principle. And Maharaj Pariksit here says, yes, this process of atonement does not help counteracting an impious activity with a pious activity in which we also forget Krishna. It's useless. You may not have to suffer, right? It's like you have a debt to someone. You owe someone 100 euro, and you pay it back. No debt anymore. That's like counteracting that. But it's all related to the body and the mind. But who gets the reactions? Not the soul. It's the body who gets reactions. But the devotee is not concerned with that. He's concerned with raising his consciousness and stay on this higher platform of devotional service and not come down again. This atoning and then doing again sinful activities, those people have no interest in spiritual life. We are interested in spiritual life. We must endeavor to give it up. But the verse says, yes, sometimes one who is very alert to commit sinful activities is victimized again by sinful life. Of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, even one of the roaming senses can bring you down and force you to perform these sinful activities. Therefore, it's something to be careful of. How does it start, this sinful attraction? How did we cultivate it? Dayate visaya pumsam sangrastes vajayate sangha sangyate kama koda vijayate. You meditate on things and then lust comes in your heart and you become attached. You want to enjoy that thing. And then the rest is history, what happens after that. It's so strong, you cannot counteract it. You cannot say no anymore. If the meditation is too deep. So that's the mind who becomes your enemy. And that's the case of most people in this world. That even if they don't want, they become victimized. And that's also a danger for us. Therefore, following the process, if we follow it very seriously, then the chances that this happen will be minimized. As long as we don't have param dristvani vartate, we don't have the higher taste, we are in danger. And we have the higher taste when we come to ruchi, really. So always. And what's the problem? It's raga and vesha, attachment and aversion. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 1, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, verse 34. Srila Prabhupada says that there are two obstacles to spiritual life: attachment and aversion, raga and vesha. And it says about this attachment, that it says about aversion, it's also attachment. But it's negative. But it's about attachment. The mind says you like this and we don't like that. These are all inventions of the mind, good and bad. That what gives pleasure to the body we like, and what gives pain we don't like. That in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, yes, even a man who is married feels attraction to other women, but that attraction has to be curbed, otherwise it will cause great havoc. And that's what we have to do. We have to tolerate and at the same time engage us in devotional service. And engagement on devotional service has two levels. That's in a purport in the 18th chapter, I think. Srila Prabhupada writes there that in the beginning of devotional service, we get satisfaction just from the service itself. And in the higher states of devotional service, we experience spiritual ecstasy. Then we have the taste. But in the beginning of the devotional service itself, so as if we may not have love for Krishna, but we do it with affection. Whatever we do for Krishna, and we pray to him. Vandanam, prayer, is very powerful. Krishna is in our heart. We can speak to him. But a pure devotee does not speak to Krishna in the heart that I want this, that, and that, and that. No. Pure devotion means, Krishna, I'm yours. And you do whatever with me what you want. Whatever happens, good or bad, I will accept as your mercy. That's the platform where we should come. But we are not on that platform. At least we may encounter many challenges in our lives. But then we can pray to Krishna, please let me overcome these challenges. That help me to overcome them. Help me to learn to tolerate. That help me to see the good qualities in other devotees. Help me not to go in issues which are not necessary for my spiritual life. Help me to see the essence of what I should do and what I should not do. Pray for guidance to Krishna. So that is also very practical in that process. If we take shelter of Krishna, at least during that time we don't take shelter of the material energy. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave us this morning program, evening program, and service during the day. And if we have a nice morning program, then it will protect us against the greatest dangers during the day. This Vaidhisana Bhakti. So that's important points in, and that will help us not to fall back in these sinful activities. Because you have the seventh offense against the holy name, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Very careful that we may be victim of lust. Okay, we may be a victim of lust, but there are different attitudes here. If you are a victim and you really don't want it, but you are a victim, that's all right. But if you also want it to do this sinful activity, although even slightly, then you get the reactions and so many difficulties. So sometimes it's too strong. We are overcome by sinful activities. But we must be honest with ourselves. That's what Krishna says in the beginning of the third chapter. Better to be an honest straight sweeper than a charlatan yogi. We do our best to practice this sadhana bhakti. We try our best, but be always honest. We must be honest, because Krishna is watching. He's in your heart. He knows your desires. In that sense, there is no need to explain to Krishna all your problems in detail. He knows our problems, and he knows our sincerity. And then gradually we will make progress and come out of this. And that will avoid us to get into this kuncharat shavat, that we purify ourselves, but then the next moment you fall back in previous habits. But we have to be careful and try to minimize this falling back. And we can learn from Ajamil. He fell back for a long time and then came back. I was happy to see one devotee in Radhadesh who disappeared from our association for 12 years, and now he takes up the process again, very seriously again. But he learned from his experience. So even if we fall back for some time, then we learn. Ajamil also learned. So Krishna never forgets our devotional service. And he always tried to bring us back on the right path, and therefore Ajamil had this experience. And that's also hopeful for us, because when we leave this body, this is our future. We created our future this life, but we are trying to become devotees. And Krishna knows that. So in next life, he will give plenty of opportunities to further progress. One way or another he will do it. He does that already in our life. In our own life now, we have the experience. How he arranges things. How he arranges our life as such that he inspires us in so many ways to give up our attachment at one time, and at the other side to progress in spiritual lives. And it's a fact. My Guru Maharaj many times said to me it one time personally, when I was in great difficulty, and said, see, whatever happens, good or bad, as Krishna's mercy. And it is nothing else than Krishna's mercy, whatever happens. From the moment you try to, you take with sincerity to this path, Krishna will arrange for our purification, and he will give also many glimpses of the higher taste on the way. But it is a path of purification. And purification means, yes, it's painful. Because to give up our attachment is painful. But the more attachments you can give up, the more happier that you become in this life already. But we should not forget, don't just concentrate on giving up attachment. Giving up attachment happens by becoming attached to Krishna. That's our process, becoming attached to Krishna. And becoming attached to Krishna means becoming detached from the material world and all its advertisements and so on. So that is important. That's in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, yes, one who sees that attachment to me, attachment to Krishna, is the same as material detachment. He sees things as they are. And that's the higher principle, that becoming detached from matter without becoming attached to Krishna is not possible. It's very difficult. That's the impersonalist way of the jnanis and the jnana yogis. And that Bhaunam Jnanamate Jnanmama Prabhachate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurva. After many, many, many births, they come to the conclusion, yes, Vasudeva is everything, I should perform devotional service, and then they become devotees. Because it's just a lower level of yoga, and they have to come to the higher level, and the higher level changes our desires. And that's again the point. Change desires means that is a real purification of the heart, and that is stressed here, that change our desires. And we have material desires, yes, we can be honest with it, but we have to dovetail them and use them in Krishna's service, and they will become spiritualized. And that's part of the process. That's the process of karma yoga that leads to, karma yoga mixed with bhakti. And not the end, it's bhakti. That's the process. So yeah, that's what I could say on this verse. Any questions, comments? Yes?
I was thinking of, okay, we do sinful activities, then we atone, and then again sinful activities and atone, and there is the example of this elephant who is cleaning and putting dust again. The context is not exactly the same, but I was thinking also on our devotional service, we progress on the path of bhakti, but then offenses are blocking us, and then advance, and then again we are blocked by the offense. It's different because bhakti is going to destroy all the things inside of the heart, but I was just thinking after hearing so many lectures, so many times about all those offenses we have to avoid, it seems it's still so difficult to avoid criticizing devotees of those basic offenses. So I wanted to ask you what is for you the formula to help us to be more aware of not committing offenses?
Yeah, on the first thing you said, it is not just a linear process. It's going down, it's going up, down. First, sometimes you are down. What do you do when you are down? That's the first thing I would say. Well, some devotees said, and I felt that a very good idea. You keep a diary, and all your nice experiences in devotional service you will write down in it. And when you are done, you read them. that may help to uplift you. And the second point you said was
how to protect ourselves from those offenses.
Yeah, these offenses. Yeah, that well. You can protect yourself from the offenses if we feel really guilty about it, and so that we take the commitment. We come to the point, I don't want it anymore, and then you become careful in your dealings with others. Then you become careful. But if that guilt is not there, then there can be different reasons for that. Why is the guilt not there? Because we are not really aware that we are offensive. And therefore it's good to hear about that. Of course, becoming humble, it is, I see many times in communities, there are disagreements, but about what's the cause of the disagreement? Many times it's I and mine. I think I know better and I want to control. And then there is an issue, and everyone in the community takes a side of the issue, against or for, but better to consider before, is that issue important? That very essential? That is mostly not, but it's just the cause of offenses. I was in Radedesh, and Hridai Chaitanya follows the rules, and he wears a mask, and I wear also a mask. I have no problem with that. That if that's the rule, I'm following that. But then there may be others who say, oh, they are trying to come up with something, and with our freedom, or there are those who say the corona, it's all an invention, that it's an illusion, and then they fight with each other about that. But we don't have to go into these things. It destroys the mood, and it destroys the focus on the real thing. And that's not good. So always consider, do I have to go into this issue? Is it important? Is it going to help me with my spiritual life? Mostly not. I see this, and that can be on many levels, but I see that is a great source of apparat. And then the one who is in charge, from the moment you are the temple president, I've also been temple president, then they throw all the mud to you, and you have to tolerate. Of course, for the leader who is tolerant, it's purifying. and then you become more soft in your dealings, not taking a stand here and there. So this is important, that don't let issues in this world try to come between us, that ruins the mood in a community. It's not good. But cooperate together. Don't be attached on your own idea. If you are not the manager here, don't go into it. Just cooperate. And suggestions can be made in a polite way, but not fighting about things. There's so many things in this world you can't go into. That it's best to be very, very careful with that. At least that is a source of offenses in communities that I've seen. And therefore this culture of respect, then the culture of respect is not there anymore. I know better. No respecting of authorities, and it becomes so difficult. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate. A sign of spiritual advancement is humility, and not trying to control, just cooperate. This is stay out of the craziness of this world. The illusion energy is very strong. Of course, it is also good to have knowledge. What are offenses? What kind of offenses are there? It's nicely explained in Madhurya Kanambini that all these offenses. But the underlying thing is respect, yes. Culture of respect. Yeah. Anyway, does that help you then? Yeah. Something else? Yes.
You mentioned that the reason for anarthas or offenses is the desire to exploit for own benefit or to get honor or to have own sense gratification. I observed a lot of this in me also, and I made the observation that when I'm in a temple, that the behavior is much more better. Here's etiquette, more respect, and the false ego and the mind are more on a lower level than outside. What is your experience? Is it possible when we live in like me, in a community which is an open community, not a temple community? It's a Vihasta community, and we are more in a, I would say, joking mood, more relaxed, and not so much etiquette. And if I feel for myself, I need some more etiquette in these things to develop better qualities. Do you think it's possible outside, or it's really more possible in
That I would say it's important to associate with those who are advanced. That will help you. You see how they behave with each other and so on. So that's essential. Association with advanced devotees. That, of course, being in devotees is always nice, and it's better than in the. We should always in association with devotees. But sometimes we are in association with Kanishta, low Kanishtas, not advanced, and they don't know how to behave, and we have to also be careful. Therefore, we need education, what is proper behavior and so on, and that we learn every day from the Bhagavata. That But I don't know. Is it okay if I make a suggestion for the community? I'm a sannyasi. That the sannyasi is etiquette for women to stay far away. It's not something I invented. Lord Chaitanya applied that very much, and he is he's exemplary sannyasi. If you do Tulsi Puja, it's not proper for me as a sannyasi to walk around a woman 3 times. They do that too in marriages, but as a sannyasi I cannot do that normally. And as I've seen, one devotee was very intelligent. She did the puja and then stepped away, and then I could come, give Tulsi water, and go around 3 times. That's just respect that. Respect that the sannyasi is in that position. I've nothing against women. I've nothing against marriage. As long as I'm not involved, it's all okay. But just that's the etiquette. And it would be nice if that could be respected in the future. That's also respect different ashrams. But yes. But what also protects us is, and to go further on your question, is reading sufficiently and create the ability for yourself to be always engaged in devotional service in Srila Prabhupada's mission. Whether you are in association or devotees or not, create that ability. If you are outside the temple somewhere for your work or whatever, get up early in the morning and have your own sadhana. Can be different than in the temple because of the circumstances, but that's a big protection. And if you have that ability and you read every day and so on, then you work and you see the difference of behavior of the people in the Bhagavatam and those at your work, and you adapt. You understand that. Sometimes we understand the value of being in the temple if we ask for some time out of the temple, but we have to engage ourselves in the mission of Prabhupada and have a good sadhana. That this ability to engage ourselves in devotional service. Even if we are alone, we can do so many things. You have to cook for Krishna, you clean the house for Krishna, you shop for Krishna. It's an ability we have to create. That we found it natural to have the ability to act for our own profit. That we have to change every moment, whether you are in the temple or not. Does that help? Thank you. Something else? Good. I was happy to be with you. I come back still on Sunday evening we have one more class on Monday morning. I was very happy to be with you. Jai Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Gauri Nitai ki, Shri Gaura Premanand.